Hey guys, welcome back to America's Kitchen Table. I really appreciate you being here. There's lots of things going on in the world, and we're going to talk a little bit about math today. 2 plus 2 equals 15. Apparently, it's tremendous. So there's lots of things going around on social media. This whole COVID-19 or coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, has really gotten social media, has really gotten it divided, much more so than our current political situation is. So the administration and Trump and the CDC, they have come out and said that there is only 15 cases here in America of this coronavirus or COVID-19. Now, I want to show you today, with the math of the situation and the timeline as we know it, how that could honestly not be true. So 2 plus 2 equals 15. It's tremendous. Believe me, the CDC, they're great at telling lies. Some say it's the best virus possibly of all time. I don't say that. The markets are wonderful. It's tremendous. Believe me, believe me. That's what we're getting from the administration. And I somewhat understand both sides of it politically because they have to do what they have to do. However, us as individuals, I think we can decipher a little bit better than what the administration is telling us. So let's go back to the beginning and say the first documented and admitted case from China was December 28th. And we know that there's at least a 14-day asymptomatic period to where you're contagious, but you don't know it. So we know that that December 28th case was infected no later than December 14th. Now, those numbers are getting up as far as that window of opportunity of you being asymptomatic. Some are saying 21 days, some are saying up to 28 days. I even read reports couple of days ago that it could be 6 to 8 weeks. And we're seeing that come to fruition because a lot of people are being quote unquote cured or recovered, but 3 and 4 weeks down the road, they are showing positive again on the test. So we have December 28th, first confirmed case. So we know that that person had to be infected no later than December 14th, and we're talking China here. So China stonewalled the world, and they finally admitted that there was a problem by locking down cities. They were still outwardly saying, we got it under control, nothing to see here, but they started locking down cities. And that happened in late January. So now we're 6 weeks in. And then finally, February 1st, American Airlines said, we're not flying into China anymore. And then the U.S. started putting in travel restrictions. Excuse me, corona cough. So now we're basically 6 to 8 weeks in of unchecked global travel until the U.S. and the rest of the world says, hey, we might not want to go to China anymore. So now, late here in the month of February, the U.S. is putting more travel restrictions and more travel advisories into Europe, into some Middle Eastern countries that are blowing up. And that's an important part of this. What is happening in Italy and Iran is very telling, and I've got a couple of theories about that, and that's going to be another video, because what's happening there is somewhat a little bit different than what's happening in the rest of the world. So we have a highly contagious virus that was unchecked with world travel for at least 8 weeks, in and out of the U.S. would travel, in and out of the rest of the world would travel, and somehow we supposed to believe that there's only 15 cases here in the United States. So I want to give you a couple of numbers. There are 350,000 Chinese students here in America. Now, if anyone knows anything about the Chinese New Year, it is your birthday, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, every major holiday here in the States, it's rolled up into one. It is literally the biggest annual human migration on the face of the planet. It's bigger than Mecca. It's bigger than anything. So, and knowing that China has a population of over 1 billion, they all converge into the cities to celebrate this holiday. So we have 350,000 Chinese students here in America. How many of those went home during the last 2 weeks of December, first 2 weeks of January, when this thing was running rampant in China? Whether it be, just for the annual college campus break, or they went home for the Chinese New Year. So if we take that 350,000 and let's just lowball it and say 20% went home, we're looking at 70,000. So and let's just say 1% of those came back unknowingly infected. You're at 700 cases here in America. Now, let's take the total Chinese American population, which is about 5 million. Let's say 20% of them went back to China. You're looking at 1 million people. You take 1% of that coming back unknowingly. You're at 10,700 cases with students and normal Chinese Americans combined coming back from China infected unknowingly. So let's just say that 10,700, that this coronavirus is a 1-to-1 ratio, much like the common cold on an R0 factor. So let's say that those 10,000 infected one person each. See, boom, you're immediately up to 21,400. So you're instantly over 20,000 cases here in America, and you don't even know it yet. And that's with an R0 factor of 1-to-1. There are many reports out there, and most reports are saying that the R0 factor is anywhere from 4 to 7. So for every one person that gets infected, they're going to infect 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 people. So that's how fast this thing has been spread from the numbers that we can look at post-mortem, so to speak. And that's another thing that a lot of people on social media are talking about is, oh, it's no more than the common flu, or it's no more than the common cold. And that's simply not the case. I want to see, there I go, touching my face, and I haven't fully washed my hands. I washed my hands before this video, but I touched a tripod, I touched my phone, and see, I just touched my face. That's how quickly this thing can spread unknowingly, because that's a habit. Your nose itches, so you're going to scratch it. Anyways, back on topic. There is a world population of 7.7 billion people. Most general consensus reports is going to say that anywhere from 30 to 40% of everyone on the globe is going to be affected or contract or be infected with this virus. So let's just say, let's lowball it once again and go down to 20% like we did on the previous examples of Chinese students and normal Chinese Americans. So 20% of that 7.7 billion is 1.5 billion. So potentially 1.5 billion people are going to be infected with this. Now, let's take 2% of that 1.5 billion, because the death rate as it stands now is about 2 to 3%. So let's err on the side of caution and say 2%. 2% of 1.5 billion is over 30 million people. 30.8 million people across the globe can potentially die from this. Granted, 80% is going to suffer, mild to severe flu or common cold symptoms. But 2%, 30.8 million people globally can potentially die from this. That does not sound like the common cold to me. Those are the numbers. You run them out for yourself. Take your calculator and make the decision for you and your family on what you need to do. Because here's the thing about the 2 to 3% death rate. China quit counting death rate. When someone died before they went to the hospital, they didn't include that in the coronavirus death numbers. North Korea, right now as we speak, if you come down with the coronavirus, they take you out back, put a bullet in your head, and put you down like a rabid dog or lame horse. They're not counting. So many people and so many countries out there aren't counting because people are just turning up dead. And back to that December 14th infection date, there's vast reports out there that saying that people were coming in, stumbling into Chinese hospitals, keeling over dead in waiting rooms before they even knew what this was. So we can see how that 2 to 3% death rate could easily be skewed to the low side. Guys, I don't do fear porn. I don't do doomsday. I do general, everyday family and personal preparation because I think it's a smart thing to do, especially in times like these. But I want you to make your own decision. And I hope this video has cleared up some muddy waters and given you some reasonable and rational thought processes to go through for you and your family. That's what I have for you today, and I want to say I do appreciate you being here, whether you're viewing on YouTube or on the Facebook page, America's Kitchen Table. And I hope that this video has inspired and encouraged you to take action, no matter what level of action that you decide to do for you and your family safety. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again right here on America's Kitchen Table.